Coming up as a kid, a lot of times men were taught to be strong, be hard, don't be no punk, don't show no emotions. And when you subscribe to that belief system, what it does is it entrap you, and it doesn't help you go beyond the block or beyond your goals or beyond your expectations, because you set those expectations on yourself to believe that you shouldn't share how you feel. So if you're a man that may be struggling with that belief system, delete that belief system and get a whole nother system that tells you that all things are possible for those that believe. That you can change if you want to, but nothing changes if nothing changes. My name is Clem Richardson. I'm a entrepreneur, counselor, happy to be a pastor. And so that's what I do. I work with men returning home from prison, the reentry population, and working with young youth too as well. So my book is entitled Beyond the Block. And so what I mean by that is I grew up in the 53206 area in Milwaukee. And in that area, I was confined to that 10-block radius. So in that area, pretty much felt that I couldn't do anything because of the things that was going on. I already felt incarcerated. I call it incarcerhood. So I already felt like, couldn't obtain anything because of the environmental factors and social factors too played a big important part. And so in that, we call it Beyond the Block because it allows us to get beyond what we're thinking, be transformed by renewing your mind, do something better. In other words, I'm more than my zip code. I'm not going to allow 53206 or some environment confine who I am as a person. I decided to have Curtis co-write with me because he has a powerful story. One of the key reasons why my mother always made me look after him. So I said, you know what? He needs to hear, his voice needs to be heard too through this book. I think this would be a good collaboration that we do.
Beyond the Block. It's a background, a story about where me and Clem came from, our history of what we experienced growing up with trauma and loss and myself, sexual abuse, gang violence, drugs, incarceration, myself, homicides, multiple things that we both have experienced. Beyond the Block shows that you can come away from that environment, but it all starts in the mind frame. We're trying to give back to young men and women that's still experiencing those things, still experiencing peer pressure, violence, abandonment issues.
So getting out of high school, 17 years old, actually, I was a pretty smart kid, got out, and next thing you know, A.O. Smith is closed. Not closing, selling out. They're moving south. They're moving to Mexico. They're moving, you had Briggs and Stratton. You had Coulter Hammer. You had Masterlock. Some of these major companies in the 53206 areas in like 83, 84, 85 started to leave our communities. So now these were vibrant homes where middle class and upper class people to take care of 10 children with their family, just working that type of job. When that happened, it left a tsunami be in the neighborhood. And next thing you know, you're starting to see the crack cocaine epidemic in 85 come in. And when you're seeing that, it's left devastation. I was unfortunately part of that, taking over people's apartments or house and selling the drugs. And so being a part of that culture, again, normalized dysfunction, like this is some normalcy.
When we were growing up, we had things to do. After we get out of school, we had a thing called the social center that we could play basketball. We had activities we could do. We bowled, we played pool. There was a lot of things you could do after school. And I say 1984 and 5, I think that's when things started changing. They shut down the social centers. So now you got these adolescents coming out of school nowhere to go, nothing to do, but hang around in the streets around each other's houses, sitting on the porch. Now it's time to get in trouble. Now we finding something to do. We going around, they busting windows, they writing stuff on garages. Now you tearing down the neighborhoods. Now this neighborhood don't want you over in their neighborhood. Now you start fighting each other. Now you got gangs. Then the drugs was planted, and then now we got this addiction.
And for me, growing up in a single parent home, was just this mom, 7 kids, 5 boys, 2 girls. So seeing that, no father in the home, so you felt hopeless, And so with that, with just one income coming in, you feel like you're stuck. I felt stuck. I felt like I wasn't going to go anywhere. I thought I wasn't going to live past 21 years old. So that mindset set in at an early stage. Seeing domestic violence, seeing people fist fights, seeing certain things, friends getting murdered at 13, 14. So I felt like my turn, when is my turn going to be next? So in that environment, you walk around with a chip on your shoulder, So that was the mindset. And so with that, me and my brother and sister too as well, thank God, she got out and went to church and all that. I think about 21-ish, 22-ish. But me and Kurt continued to live that lifestyle because that's what was shown to us. So we normalized dysfunction, where it became normal, and violence was normal. I would try to talk you out of a situation. That was my mindset. But my brother would go in 10 toes down. And the reason why I was reserved, because I was scared of me. I was afraid I would kill somebody. That was my mentality. And so because of that traumas and things that a person has been through, but this is in an environment, I had to walk around with this mask on, this criminal mask, like it's normal. And so once I finally continued to be in that lifestyle, it became like a norm. The selling drugs was a norm because I wanted to come out of poverty. Just being experimenting with marijuana was the norm to cover up how I felt. Listening to the hip hop that was coming from the East Coast or, coming from the West Coast, it was speaking to me. That became the norm, And so, it spoke to the pain that I was going through at that time. So that mindset gets a person addicted to the chaos and staying stuck.
I could really say I got tired. I got tired of doing the same old thing over and over every day, every year. I'm talking about over 20-something years. Getting up, how I'm gonna get my next one. Going out here robbing people, going out here doing all kind of stuff just to get one more drug, one more hit. I just gotta get one more. Stealing from my kids, stealing from my first wife. But I kept fighting. I kept on speaking life into me. I kept saying, this ain't gonna always be me. God, I know you got me. This ain't gonna always be me. And he had been took the taste from me, but the desire was still there. I would take my will back and be like, I'm going to get one. If I lost somebody died, I'm going to get one. If it's raining too hard, man, I'm staying in the house, I'm going to get one. I always found the reason to mess up. I would sabotage myself every time I started achieving something. I would sabotage. And I think this is the longest I ever been clean. It's going on 8 years. But the difference is he took the taste and the desire. The taste is gone. I'm talking about, at one point, I couldn't even watch a movie with drugs on it without me getting my stomach bubbled up or thinking about it. Now I could watch that stuff and I could have empathy for them and be like, this is sad. I hate to see that. I see addicts in Texas. I see them in Milwaukee. I hate to see that because I say, there go I. And I don't make no mistake that if I don't stay focused, there go I.
After numerous treatment programs, I went to outpatient, and that didn't work, the outpatient, because the counselor told me, you have, PTSD. I said, what? I don't have any STDs. What are you talking about? He said, no, you have post-traumatic stress disorder. Man, can we go? I said, I don't know what you're talking about. So I ran away from the trauma. Finally, once I hit bottom, I surrendered. And once I surrendered, I went into a place that was a 90-day program. I was at the bottom, you hear me? And so got in there, and this one counselor, Mr. Clem says, he told me to get in touch with something called feelings. He said, you've been numbing these feelings for the last 20 years, you're gonna die, son. So he pretty much, let me know there's hope. And he reached out and he let me know that I am somebody. He let me know that I got purpose. And he started speaking in my life. He let me know, man, you come from some stuff, man. You dangerous, sir. I was treacherous because of all the things that I've been.
Clem Richardson, my guy. I was a counselor at Matt Tablet Recovery Center, and it's a 90-day program that individuals live in. And Clem came to treatment. He was a handful, baby. He had been in this street life, the gangbang, the drugs, all of that stuff. And I liked him from the jump because he was a challenge. I wanted to break through that facade that he had built up. And I worked with Clem. I loved him as a son, and I showed him the care that was genuine. It was just genuine. And got on him. That was rough on him because he come from a rough environment. And he began to get it. He really began to get it. He responded in an appropriate way, okay? And he got out of treatment, and I guess he had to go through his mental stuff, but he always remembered me. And he was motivated to enrich his life. And he started a school. He was counseling. I mean, man, he just blew up until, oh Lord have mercy, I want to cry. Whenever I leave this earth, he is some of my fruit.
I know Clem, Mr. Richardson, or Pastor Clem. I know him for many years. We grew up in the same neighborhood, but we were in opposite gangs. We didn't get along much back then. And then when the drugs came on the scene, we found ourselves in the same drug houses getting high together. We come in, we look at each other, make sure it's neutral ground, and we was okay with that. And then we'd sit down and we'd start getting high. One of the things about it, we often talked about our faith during those sessions. Made a lot of people uncomfortable, but the two of us we were like-minded in that way. I went on to wind up going to prison due to my lifestyle, and went to prison a few times. And once when I was on my way back from prison, my parole officer sent me through a program, and I saw Mr. Richardson there, and I thought his probation officer sent him too. So I was like, oh, so your PO got you here too, huh? And he was like, no, I work here. And that was a shock to me. It's like, what do you mean? And so, because in my mind, I didn't know those kinds of things was available to us. I come from a pretty challenging area and neighborhood. And so my mindset was like, we live and die in that community, or we'd wind up in prison. So those were my expectations. But when I saw Mr. Richardson living that way, it gave me some hope that I could probably do that. And so I shared with him. I asked him. He was real open. He told me about his faith. He told me how he got out, his belief in God, and went back to school and so on and so forth. And so it just let me know that those things were available to me too.
Well, I am 4 years older than Clem, and I am 7 years older than Curtis. And we grew up in a neighborhood where it was a lot of families, and we was raised by a single parent, raised in a single parent home. Our mom, and she was just a phenomenal woman. She was a hard worker. She raised us with morals, raised us with values. It was like a family environment. We knew everybody on the block. I was very protective over my siblings, very, very much protective. And we just had a great time growing up. And then we got older, of course, and kind of went in different directions. They ended up on drugs, and so did I. But the Lord brought us back together, and I'm just grateful for that. I want to say that I am incredibly proud of Clem and Curtis for what they're doing. They're making an impact in the community. They're changing lives. Clem went from being a drug addict, selling drugs, went to jail, all of that, to now he's counseling men that are coming out of prison, and he's helping to change lives. So he's really making an impact. And so Curtis was on drugs. He went to jail. He was in gangs, and now he's changed his life. So when I look at them, I see hope for anyone. If God can change them and myself, he can change anyone. So that's what I would say to those that are listening today, that there is hope. It doesn't matter what your life used to be. It can change tomorrow, but it starts with a decision to make the change and to get the help that you need.
Let's see, anyone that's still out here that's struggling, it's hard for them. If they really want to stop, it's time to put some work in. Same energy I had to go get the drug, and I got to walk from here to here, a mile or a mile and a half, and get the drug. I got to wait at the door and hope ain't nobody getting robbed in there and I be in there, or hope ain't nobody, the police coming. The same energy I had to do that, that's what they're gonna have to do to wanna get clean and stay clean. You have to look for resources. You have to pray. You definitely have to pray. Yeah, whatever you believe in, you're gonna have to get before it and believe it, that this is gonna help me change.
So get the book, especially for you, anyone who may be struggling with any addictions, any criminal thinkings, anything you may be dealing with. I don't care what block or what neighborhood you come from. I don't care if they walk down on you. I don't care what happened. You can make it. With God on your side, you can do anything. All things are possible to them that believe. So get the book. I'm telling you, it's going to change your life. And not only that, tell someone else about it to let you know that Mary Richardson baby boys changed their life around. Thank you.
Sitting here, guess I didn't make bail. Got time and a story to tell. Started when I was 9 years old. Woke up and daddy was gone. I started hustling and they couldn't tell me nothing. Frontin' in the hood, trying to be somebody.